Thank you. This meeting of the Walton Hills Zoning Board of Appeals will come to order. Today is February 9th, 2021, and the time is 6:03 p.m. Because of COVID-19 legislation allowing open meetings for the state of Ohio to continue, Governor DeWine signed House Bill 404. Meetings such as this can be heard electronically. We're live streaming right now this meeting. House bill will remain in effect to the end of July of this year. So we ask that everybody keep their masks on and social distance, please. This hearing this evening is for Christopher Trotta. I have your address of 6925, is it Chadbourne?
Chadbourne, yes.
Drive, Valley View, Ohio, who owns the home at 7755 Dunham Road in Walton Hills. He is asking for a 5-foot variance to construct an accessory building. It is appealing the Village Codified Ordinance number 126607, subsection F, subsection 1, a detached accessory building requiring a 20-foot side setback. Mr. Trotta, we have a full board present, just so you know. I'd like to ask Mr. Secretary to please review the data for this hearing.
This hearing pertains to the appeal of Christopher Trotta, 6925 Chadbourne Drive, Valley View, Ohio, 44125. The Village of Walton Hills received a zoning permit application dated 1/4/2021 on January 4th, 2021, reflecting the following description of work. Install 100 square foot shed within 20-foot side yard setback, asking for 5-foot variance. On January 12, 2021, Rob Kalman, Building Inspector, Street Commissioner, did not approve the construction of the 18 by 12 accessory structure, which according to sheet 1/1 indicates it would be located 18.13 feet from the side lot line. Per 126607 F1, detached accessory structures required a 20-foot setback. The Village of Walton Hills received a hearing application dated 1/4/2021 to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Decision being appealed, install shed within 20-foot side yard setback. Notification of the Monday, February 9th, 2021 at 6 p.m. hearing was mailed to 12 residents, interested parties. Due to the COVID-19 stay-at-home order, this hearing will be on YouTube. On-site inspections conducted by Mr. Rich on 2/9/2021, Ms. Workman on 2/9/2021, Mr. Velk on 1/30/2021, Mr. Pollack on 1/25/2021, Mr. Johansson on 2/9/2021.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Would you please read the ordinance in question once again, please?
Ordinance 126607 setback. Walton Hills Codified Ordinance 126607 accessory use regulations. Specifically, 126607 F1 indicates that detached accessory buildings, including garages, are permitted in the rear yard with a minimum 20-foot setback from the lot line.
Thank you again, Mr. Secretary. I'd like to ask Mr. Secretary, have we received any emails from residents pertaining to this hearing?
I have not.
Okay. Sarah, have we received any emails at this time or texts?
No comments.
Okay, thank you. Persons wishing to testify will sign their name, their address, and phone number on the witness list. That'll be you, Mr. Trotta. We request that your mask remain on while you speak, and after that, Ms. Workman will administer the testimonial oath to you. So after you speak, the board will ask a few questions.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony given or statements made in this hearing are to the best of your knowledge, truthful and practical, so help you God? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Workman. Mr. Trotta, could you please state your reasons why you want the variance?
There are a couple reasons. One is, number one, I want to, for the initial need for the shed is because that property has no lockable garage, it's a carport. So lawnmowers, just other instruments, I need to have them stored away and locked. So that's the need for the shed. As you've seen on that property, there's very limited adjacent land to where the garages are accessible, coming out the garage or the house to get to the shed, so I want it close by. Otherwise, it has to be down by the river or on the other side of the house, which there is no access besides yard, but in the wintertime, of course, it's just not accessible. There was a large tree that I got approval to tear down that was right in that same spot. It was a dead tree. It came down, and then the storms that hit knocked down other trees, and it's very visible to the neighbor as well. And they can see, the privacy of them sitting in their back, or their screened-in part of their house. They can see right to the house. So the position of the structure also works well with kind of giving that privacy back that was there. And then also there's, from an architecture standpoint, from a layout, it kind of forms a nice 90-degree angle with the carport. And then it works with the Japanese garden I'm going to try to restore, so it kind of fits in nicely. And so I kind of settled on that location for those reasons.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Trotta.
Sure.
Well, there's no one here. We usually ask if there was any proponents or opponents of the variance. And what we try to do now is we just have questions from the board. So if anybody would like to ask some questions, please feel free.
I don't have any questions, but I do have a comment. I have to commend you on the excellent drawings and attachments you did to your application. They were wonderful. They explained what you wanted very well and very professional. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I went out and got a site survey done of the property just so I really understood what the variance would be. So I wanted to make sure it was kind of factual to see, number one, did I need it, and then to see how much was I encroaching. And I asked for 5 foot sort of as a cushion because I couldn't see in the ordinances where the setback was measured from the building or the overhang. So the overhang sticks out even further, so I just said, let's do 5 feet and make sure I don't, I don't want to be down to the inch, when I do this layout of this. But,
It's appreciated. Thank you.
I mean, do you planning on having any foundation for the?
It has not a foundation in the sense of a concrete foundation, but it has like a crushed rock tamped down. I have a company coming and they'll put 4x4s around it, tamp it down, and then I'll anchor the structure in 4 corners into the ground with anchors.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah. I mean, that's really, and the only other question I had before I saw your home was, is there another place you could put it? And based on the lot, the way it's shaped, it would be nearly impossible. And if you did put it on the side of the Sagamore Creek, it could get flooded.
Mr. Trotter, the actual location is going to be less than 5 foot, right? You're just using 5 foot because of the overhang issue or something like that you're concerned about, is that correct?
And then if there's any reason when they come to do the sort of that foundation, or if you know, there's a reason because there was a stump there, I had to crown up. If there's any reason that needs to move for something physical on the ground or something, I just wanted to have a little leeway, is what I was asking.
Now, you were,
Where we have it staked out is really where it went, and that follows this proposal.
now you were saying this was provide you with some privacy and provide your neighbor with some privacy, correct? Are you going to put any type of additional planting between your property on the property line at all? Have you contemplated anything like
I
that?
think I will because of the storms, a lot was knocked down. But I also want, this is the first spring coming up, that we'll see the growth and see what comes up. So that'll come, but I think I would put up something, some evergreens or something, bushes that would hide it year round or make it a little softer of an edge. But there are trees there now a little bit, but I'd like to do more.
Okay. And do you plan to move into the structure, or what are your plans for the structure?
It would remain there.
No, I mean, I'm talking about, are you live in Valley View right now, or are you going to be
Oh.
moving to Walton Hills, or?
Haven't decided that.
Okay.
I don't know, it's
Okay.
gonna take another 3 months to renovate it, and I don't have a plan for it yet.
Okay. Well, if you do, it's a great village, and
Oh, I love it.
would welcome you. Okay, a lot of good things in the village. I have no
I
doubt.
kind of see it as my, certainly a retirement place, like a single story, smaller house with beautiful view. It's sort of my longer term plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions from the board? Any questions from the audience, Sarah? I guess we can continue to move on. We have a couple of things we normally read before we vote. So there's three things that we look at, that there are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the property or to the intended use of the property that do not apply generally to the other class of uses in the same zoning district. The second article is that such variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right possessed by the other properties in the same zoning district and in the vicinity. And number three, that granting the variance will not materially impair the purpose of the village ordinances or the public interest. So I think
Mr. Chairman,
it's all pretty good.
for the, looking at the topography of the land, I think the location of the proposed shed would be very appropriate and blend in nicely, and about the only logical place to put it for his purposes. Additionally, he doesn't have any other shed on his property or accessory building on his property, so he's not have to deal with, do I have two sheds and stuff?
Yeah, yeah. And the board, in the past, has granted variances for, side lot variance for accessory buildings that are in that neighborhood of the footage that you're looking for. So you have those in your favor before we vote. So I
Mr.
guess.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make the following motion. I make a motion to approve a 5-foot variance to 126607 F1, which would result in a 15-foot side yard setback.
Is there a second?
I second.
So the motion was made by Mr. Pollack and seconded by Ms. Workman to approve a 5-foot variance, which would result in a 15-foot side lot measurement. So I guess we could vote on the motion. Mr. Belk?
Yes.
Mr. Johansson?
Yes.
Ms. Workman?
Yes.
Mr. Pollack?
Yes.
And the chairman votes yes. So the motion was voted on, it was approved. You have 90 calendar days after the date of this hearing to submit for your paperwork. You're going to get a permit.
Yeah, but is my understanding, correct me if I'm good, for a structure like this, you don't need a permit for. Is that correct? Under a certain square footage, this is only 100 square feet. I think it was like under 200, or I don't have no problem with doing that, but I thought that this was the only approval that I needed for that type of.
Well, let me check. I'll check with Ms. Canzoni first thing tomorrow morning and get back to you. I'll make a phone call and get a hold of you.
I believe you do, because it is an accessory building. Okay, the square footage may apply to like a total square footage of all accessory buildings. I'm not sure what you were reading, what you looked at, but
There wasn't a lot of information.
yeah, it's it basically an accessory building does require a permit. Okay, but check with, you can check with the, Ms. Scanzoni, okay? But I think that Rob would have told you when you submitted your application for a building permit that, hey, you don't need one, okay? That's how I would interpret.
Really?
this.
Okay, I didn't see anything in my paperwork that said you do or you don't. I just.
But I mean, he did submit a request for an application, a building permit application. You already did that,
Yeah.
and it was disapproved. So what you may want to do is just call Lisa and just verify
Get it
that.
clarified.
Yeah, I'll have us into her tomorrow, so she'll have the paperwork.
Okay.
I think they start answering their phone at 8:30, but they start at 7:30.
I'm not going to get up at 8:30, so, okay.
We'll call Lisa tomorrow.
Okay. Give her a call in the afternoon, and this way you'll have it. But again, from what I understand, if it's an accessory building, it requires a permit. Okay.
I know I did.
Yeah.
And mine was 12 by 16 though, so. Yours is 8 by 12? Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn the hearing?
Have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Vote on the motion. Mr. Belk?
Yes.
Mr. Johansson?
Yes.
Ms. Workman?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The hearing is concluded at 6:19. Thank you again.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks
Nice
for
meeting
coming.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.